Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Freestyle Chess, a new type of chess tournament championed here in early 2024 by none other than the best player in the world, Magnus Carlsen. It's an invitational 8-player event where they play Fischer random chess or chess 960 or chess 9LX or whatever other trademark somebody wants to put on it to try to make it sound unique when it's not. And they play a mix of rapid and blitz. We've got Magnus Carlsen, we have Fabiano Caruana, we have Dingley Ren, Levon Aronian, we also have Ali Reza Faruja, Nodirbek Abdusattorov, Vincent Keymer, and Gukesh from India. Today is the second day of the round robin portion. I will give you an update, I will show you some games, and today we have a very interesting matchup, a matchup that we have not had in an official capacity in a major tournament since Dingley Ren took the title from Magnus Carlsen without taking the title from Magnus Carlsen. Magnus Carlsen abandoned the World Chess Championship, and now Dingley Ren holds that title, but he never beat Magnus to do it. Now we get a chance to see them play in a game. I've got incredible storylines. The young guard is absolutely on fire, beating up the senior citizen chess players. Here we go. Dingley Ren plays f4. Now you may be wondering why this back row is shuffled. That is because we are playing Fischer random chess 960, 9LX, there are 960 possible setups. They're all shuffled. The bishops have to be on opposite color, and the king has to be between the rooks. Not exactly between the rooks, but as long as the rooks are on each side of the king. So, in this type of setup, players very frequently, especially when the bishops are in the corner, they like to open up the bishops. And then they have to figure out what type of a structure they want in the center before they bring out their knights, right? And before they end up committing their kings to somewhere. So, knight d3, knight d6, knight e3, knight e6. Both players bring out their knights, and now Ding jumps in with knight to e5 against Magnus. Magnus plays this very interesting move, g5, trying to destabilize Ding's grasp of the center, and now Ding strikes back with c5. It's a very complicated position. We have takes, and we have takes, and now Magnus plays knight takes f4. Losing this knight, but because Ding's knight is hanging in the center, what's he going to do? He plays d4, and basically, Ding is just opening up the position for his queen and his rook. And then Ding is going to be very happy because he'll bring his rook over here and attack the king, and maybe he'll castle using that rook, and life is going to be good. Now, Magnus tries to remove some of the pieces, and then he plays bishop to g6, so Magnus trying to alleviate some of the pressure that's building in the position. Ding plays this move e4, defending his knight. Magnus plays d5, looking to destabilize. Now, Ding is a principled man. When he sees en passant, he plays it. Pawn takes d6, bishop f2. And essentially what's happening here is it's sort of a question of what's going to happen over in this territory. Like, will Black find a way to trade something and create some weaknesses for White? Let's not forget that the kings are still kind of clustered here together. And Magnus decides to send the game to an endgame. And Ding decides, let's send the game to a super endgame. Let's trade the queens. Let's remove the queens. I don't want my queen on the board to potentially be a target. I don't know what he didn't like. Probably he didn't like this. So he decides, all right, instead of that, I'm going to trade the queens. We're going to trade. And Magnus here plays a move that I think caught Ding a little bit off guard. He played this. And that just looks like you're hacking the game. But that is how you castle in Fischer random. One of your rooks is used for short castling. The other is used for long castling. So if Magnus had gone here and then here, he could have castled and put his king and rook here. He could have done this. And that would have been fine as well, but he decides to castle short, and now all of a sudden, he has the initiative. He has the initiative. He has very active pieces, and he's about to beat people the way he normally does, by taking and taking, and now he's just a pawn up. The bishop has been summoned from the corner. Ding finally gets to castle himself, but rook g8. Look at that move. That is a fancy move. If you take my bishop, I take your rook. If you take my rook, I give you a check. Then I take back. So Magnus plays this exactly like he would a normal game. Yes, the bishops are of opposite color, but Black has a better structure. Opposite colored bishops frequently mean a draw, but not in this case. Rook g4, and we go to like a real opposite colored bishop endgame. Now, one thing we're not going to do is this. All right? We're not going to run to trade both rooks. This has a much higher chance of being a draw. Look, 0.5. Whereas in this position, it's minus 1.2. It's a big advantage for Black to keep rooks on the board. When you're trying to win an endgame, you should try to keep one rook on the board. Rook g4, rook h4, And Ding resigns. What? That's what about this? Yeah, I guess Ding just was like, I'm gonna lose. Bishop d6, I'm just gonna lose. He resigns because he's gonna lose 2 pawns and just be lost. What? Wait, I don't, yeah. Apparently he just was like, I'm gonna go 2 pawns down. There's, you know, I'm not even gonna, like he could play f6 here to try to win this pawn. If black plays king f6, you have rook f2, you might be able to sneak onto the back rank, but yeah, Ding just straight up resigns the game after Magnus plays bishop c5. Wow. Ding Liren is 0-5. I'm not sure you actually quite understand. He has lost every game in this tournament. Yesterday, he went 0-4. Today, he is 0-5 after losing to Magnus Carlsen. That is nuts. That is unbelievable. I was wondering, has the world champion of chess, while reigning, lost 5 games in any format, like Blitz, Rapid? I mean, it is so sad to see. Now, on the flip side, the Rapid technically means nothing, which is kind of weird. Like, they're not playing Rapid to eliminate each other. They're playing Rapid to determine seeding for classical chess. Which doesn't even... Why are they doing that? Whatever. I didn't organize the tournament. I'm just confused. Like, normally you play for something. But whatever. Anyway, similar setup, by the way, in the game between Keymer and Gukesh. Keymer absolutely on fire. Plays like this, which is a very funny way to play. A5, taking flank space, trying to bring his queen to the party. They both bring out their knights. Knight d7. And now Keymer starts attacking on the queen side. Gukesh plays bishop f7. Keymer plays a very interesting move. Very deep positional move here from Keymer. And this is how you improve at chess. Your opponent has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pawns on light squares. Almost 7, because that's a very natural move. 6 out of 8 pawns on light squares. That means that black has a very bad light squared bishop and a pretty good dark squared bishop and a pretty important dark squared bishop to fight for the dark square. So you don't even think about it. You got to get the bishop off the board. Even if it comes at the cost of maybe getting attacked a little bit, because the truth is, your opponent should not be playing on the dark squares because their dark squares are very weak. They should be playing on the dark squares if their pawns reinforce the dark squares, but they don't. And even though that looks like an active move, after takes, Vincent explodes the center. And black has a bunch of dark squares that are not protected. I'm not saying the queen could do all of that. It can't just send arrows at all those pieces. What I am saying is that e5, d6, and f8 are completely unprotected. Pawn takes, knight takes, and the position opens up. Gukesh tries to look at, oh! Yeah, too bad white can do the same thing. And the pressure's not off. White is moments away from opening up the entire board. Gukesh plays bishop c4 to attack the rook. Vincent gets out of the way. This board is going to be opened up and oiled up. Rook e8, and Vincent just comes right back. And like I said, the attack is just, it's arriving. Queen b7, bishop h3, the knight goes back, and Vincent Keymer opens up the board. Queen is coming in, bishop is coming in, rook is coming in, and Vincent Keymer absolutely torches Gukesh. Gukesh yesterday beat Magnus and Ding. When's the last time somebody beat the world champion of both formats in one day? He beat the classical world champion and the rapid and blitz world champion. And not only that, he beat the GOAT. But today, I mean, sometimes it just doesn't go your way. Vincent Keymer is playing very, very, very well. Vincent Keymer understands these positions. And he is playing very high quality chess. And unfortunately, Gukesh runs into another young guy who is on fire. I have more games for you. Levon Aronian versus Ding Liren. This is round number 6. Ding Liren is 0-5. And I don't want to, I'm not showing games to pick on Ding Liren, but this was just an unbelievable game, and I gotta show it to you. It started again. This one a little bit different. You'll notice the bishops are now moved to the other corner. They're not memeing on us. This is just, they randomly draw the positions. That's how it works. The way it actually works is they'll randomly draw a position. Everybody who's playing white gets to talk about the position. Which, by the way, I don't like that. I understand we're playing with a new format, but so like, let's say, Levon, Magnus, Fabiano all play white. They get to talk about the game for 10 minutes. They get to go, what do you think are the best openings? Can we play this? Can we play this? Because there's no prep. Nobody knows any openings. So that's how they do it. And it's really interesting. I don't know if I like that because, it's a sport. Make them all hate each other. Make them all, talk trash about each other and their abilities and families. No, I'm just kidding. We're not cage fighting. But this time, we have the opening of the bishops. You're best believe you're going to see this, and we do. Right? Both guys opening up their bishops. It's important. F6. So Ding blocks the dark squared bishop. Queen F2. Also very, frequently they get the queens out. And now, in this position, Levon can castle. But instead he plays G4. And I mean, that's basically like a declaration of hostility upon Ding Liren. He's trying to go there. He's probably going to castle this way, is what he's thinking. Now, to me, the most natural move here is played by Ding Liren. Your opponent attacks you you got to strike back in the center. Because in one move, you're going to open up everything. Levon takes and basically says, okay, you opened up the position. Now deal with this. Bro, I love Fischer Random. Look how idiotic this position looks. There's like obscure tactics everywhere. You got snipers. You got the H-pawn coming in. And now Ding plays a move that I, for the life of me, do not understand. White has declared that he's clearly going to attack you. Now, you haven't castled that way. So you could go knight d6, h5, knight f8, get all your pieces, and then suddenly this. And you're like, oh, well, all right. I mean, I have a space advantage over there, but I'm not mating anybody. Great. They're chess players. We were never expecting to mate anybody. Castles. What? Ding Liren says, Levon just played f4, g4, h4, and I'm castling into it? Yo, this is a man on tilt. Like, this is a man who's like, you know what? The universe is against me. Come get some. Levon's like, okay, I will come get some. Yes, absolutely. And now knight e2 and knight hg3. And Levon's just got a king sitting in a little safety bunker. He bought one of those like $25 million bunkers. Have you seen all this stuff? There's like this stuff like billionaires have no idea how to spend their money, so they buy like underground bunkers for the apocalypse. I love reading like completely idiotic stuff like that and then debating whether I should tip $1 at my local coffee shop because that's the type of economy I live in. And these guys can just spend like 25, 50 million on a bunker in case the world starts shutting down. Anyway, my point being, this is one of those billionaires. And, he's just sitting here while the rest of the pieces, and like, look, knight f5, right? But there's no attack. There's no attack just yet. I mean, it looks very scary. You have g5 and so on, but you do have to be a little bit precise. Nice idea from Ding, by the way. He doesn't want his opponent to open up the file, so he plays rook d7. Yeah. Levon is opening Ding Liren's door without knocking, and he's not taking his shoes off in his house. Knight takes g7. Good lord. Oh my god. He just sacrifices the knight, and the point is, when you attack somebody, you need more pieces than they have defenders. In this case, I'm not even sure it matters. You need more attacking pieces than they have defenders, but black can't stop the attack. You can't move. Because of the way of the piece configuration, you just can't move. Knight e4 doesn't even do anything. This is double check, my friends. You go here, I'm mating you, man. I'm mating you. So Ding plays e5, pawn takes, king goes to the corner, and Levon shows no mercy, and in this position, oh my god. Bro just played queen g7 check. I mean, it's mate. It's literally mate, except you gotta take his queen, and then he's gonna go here, and then bro might promote to a knight. Now, queen is mate in 3, but Levon might straight up do this. Nah, you can't be seen anywhere in the playing hall if a man promotes to a knight against you in an over-the-board game. Online is one thing. You can't do anything. You sit here with your screen, you feel stupid. Somebody promotes to a knight against you and it's a good move. Oh, and it's not a meme? Yeah, you can't. No. Oh my, he's Levon with a brilliant attack, and Ding is 0 out of 6. He's 0 out of 6. How is that even possible? This poor man, what is... I am rooting for Ding because he's a nice guy. He gives calm, respectful interviews. He's a gentleman. He's a scholar. He's a big reader. He's like a lawyer by education. Like, Ding is a great guy. Not controversial whatsoever. How is he 0-6? Now I have more games for you, by the way. I have Fabiano Levon, and then I have this absolutely unbelievable game, which we will get into. We saw this first game, Magnus winning, nice game over Ding Liren. Fabiano Caruana versus Levon Aronian. Bishop's in the corner. Now, I just want you to... Bishop's in the corner, but look at this. It's not the same position. Bishop's in the corner. Rook, knight, king, rook. Rook, knight, king, rook. It's not the same. This was the same. But not this. Bishop's in the corner. I know, very confusing. So, like, very different meta strategy when your king starts here versus when your king starts here, right? The game we just looked at. Bishops were on the opposite corner. Every round, they have a different set of pieces, but the way it's played, Fabi brings this bishop out, and you best believe that at some point he will play g3 to get the other bishop out, but in the meantime, we're going to have a little bit of a scrap. All right, knight f3, he castles, d3, knight d2, knight b3, he takes, and there's g3. Okay, so Fabi gave up his dark squared bishop. However, Levon has not had an opportunity to get his dark squared bishop out, the corner bishop. He's going to try. His next move will be g6. But now e4. And basically, Fabi wants this. That's what he wants. He wants, and he prepared a mummification of this bishop, which is very interesting. Like the fact that all the way back here, Fabi decided, you know what? If I just try to play chess, he's going to come over here, and I'm going to take, even if it doesn't damage his structure, and then I'm going to try to wall off his bishop. Very interesting stuff, and these bishops will have a conversation at some point. Rook f8, now queen b1. Remember, Fabiano doesn't have a dark squared bishop, but he has 3 pieces that can fight from the light squares. 1, 2, 3, right? Whereas Levon only has 2, so you could play on the light squares. h4, Fabi instigating. Levon queen a6, Fabi queen c2 slowly, a3, okay. There it is, h5. The attack is continuing. Levon calls the bluff, plays gh. Oh my. Opening up the king, double pawns, but he says, Fabi, I'm up a pawn. You gave me a pawn. Knight e4. And Levon is like, come get some. I am not afraid. Rook f5 is 2 extra pawns, but then he would go here and win the rook by the queen. So bishop e4, queen e4, and Levon's completely unbothered. Like, Levon clearly... I mean, the thing is, when you play queen g7, right? Like, when you sack a queen the previous game, you're playing with house money, so he's like, I'm not afraid. I mean, I just sacked my queen. I'm gonna just fight right back. Yeah, that king does not look very good, and Fabi begins opening up the position. Knight to f6 is a huge threat. You can take the bishop, knight f6, the king will run out. Knight h5, you know, king will go back. Knight f6, you just hunt. Yeah, no, it's very bad. Rook a7, knight f6, take. What did Fabi miss? He should have brought the bishop back because now he's going to lose his bishop, but he's going to win the rook! Oh my god, Levon covering up, queen e6, trying to go into an endgame. But Fabi's king is safe, and Levon resigns because if he runs his king over here, nobody can protect the back rank. Like, you could protect it for a move, then I will go here. Nobody can protect the back rank. Rook d7, f7 is game over. Also, this is mate in 3. So, what a win by Fabiano. Fabiano had a great day. You know who also had a great day? The winner of this game. The winner of this game, which might be Magnus Carlsen. We never know. I mean, obviously, he's included in a lot of games. Might be Neugebrecht. Neugebrecht Abdusattorov, the youngest ever male chess player to win a world championship, 17 years old. The youngest person to ever win a world championship, I think, is actually Hoi Fan, who won the women's world championship in classical chess at the age of 16. 16! Some of you are 16, and all you do is sit around going, Levy never fails to never fail. So, you know, there's levels to this. I mean, I wasn't doing anything when I was 16, but, you know, I have to be the educator here. By the way, you know who else played like this? You remember this? You remember this game? Wait, you remember this game? Does this look familiar? In fact, it's the exact same opening. Look at that. That's a fascinating game, huh? Knight f6, a5, and Magnus plays b5. En passant, and imbalance, right? Instead of trading the queens, Magnus does this, because that's how you got to play for a win against Neugebrecht. You got to create a little bit of imbalance. Look at Nordjubek plays knight a4, and I gotta tell you, there is no easy way to guard that pawn for some reason, because it's Fischer freaking random, and if you play b5, he's gonna go knight c5. So Magnus takes. He gets rid of it, but that looks, I mean, what about the bishops? I mean, in the Fabiano game, when he lost the bishop, he walled off the other one. This is not the same situation. Magnus is in a precarious position. But let's just see if he knows what he's doing. I mean, he did not need to play CB. He could have played AB. They could have traded the queens. There would have been a whole bunch of nothing. This would have been a very, very solid game. But instead, Magnus takes a risk opening up his rook, and Nordjubek just puts 3 pieces on the A file, and now it's just better, and Magnus can't castle. Oh my god, Nordjubek off to an early start. Gets the bishop out. Magnus opts to trade pieces so that Nordjubek doesn't have the bishop pair. Now the knight goes back. Look at this move, knight d4. Queen c7, and we go to an endgame. Rooks and minor pieces. King d2, strong move. When nobody can really attack your king, you can put the king in the center. An active king is useful in the endgame. Plus the king's a bit of a bozo and overweight. Like, he needs a bit of exercise. It's just truth. He's got no excuse. He just sits around all day, doesn't have a job. Like, let's get out there. Let's go to the gym. Let's start benching. Let's do a little cardio on an incline. Come on. E6. Remember the Gukesh game? Yeah, I mean, 7 pawns on light squares to counteract the light square bishop, of course. C3. And now this is a position we would normally see Magnus white, Nordjubek black, and putting the pressure on the players himself. But rook a5. This is Magnus now under pressure, and Nordjubek voluntarily put his rook here because the bishop's first move of the game was meant for it to die. Because now, too many weaknesses. Knight b4 is the purest of forks. You're going to have to lose a pawn. Magnus knows he's going to have to lose the flank pawn. You can't lose the c pawn. He's going to lose the pawn. But as I said, if you want to win an endgame, you cannot trade all the rooks. This would land you in a bad situation. You are only left with a very immobile knight. The way you have to win an endgame, especially with rooks on, is only trade 1. So if it was possible, this would of course be very good for white. Plus 1.5. But you can't take with a knight, because now you pinned yourself. Stupid. Which is why Nordjubek's a smart man. Doesn't trade any rooks. And now he's going to just advance on that side of the board. Knight g4, Magnus creates counterplay. Nordjubek says you can't have me. Look at this move by Magnus, by the way, who knows how to hold an endgame. Knight h1! The point of this is that Nordjubek is going to lose the pawn. He has to take. And Magnus will simplify this into a rook endgame. Take. And now this is the position. And basically Magnus says, I have 6 pawns, you have 7. Good luck beating me in a rook endgame, which is a draw. h5. Magnus takes. Counterplay. Nordjubek defends. Magnus goes back. Nordjubek keeps advancing. When it's about pawn endgames like this, rook and pawn, it's about creating the imbalance of the pawns. What I mean by that is, just so you understand, if black loses the h-pawn, right, let's just say something like this. This is closer to a draw. Look at the advantage. It's 0.4. Because both sides traded off their biggest weaknesses. However, look at the advantage here. It's 0.8, 0.9. And the reason for that is this is a major liability for black. And white is going to try to advance, right? So you see here, it's about keeping more on the board. Leaving your opponent with a weakness. You don't take their weakness if it costs you a pawn. King d2. Magnus, meanwhile, is trying to trade off a bunch of pawns, but c4 might be rushed. He might have needed to play something else like b4. He plays c4, and you see Nordjubek is not taking, not pushing. He's just trying to come up to d4. King c5. King f3. You may be wondering, what about take, rook h5? You can't do that because but king f3, rook f7. Everything's protected, right? We could trade everything down, but 1-on-2, it's still a draw. So king f3, rook d7, take, rook h5. Magnus active. King g2, rook d2. Now a big moment. Do you take? You have to. Everything else is hanging. Nordjubek takes. Now he has a passed pawn. Magnus brings the king back to the passed pawn. Nordjubek plays rook e5 and rook e4. King protects. Rook slides back. Wait a minute. Who's protecting this pawn? Nobody. Rook d3. Magnus is choosing to play this endgame in a way that's going to leave both guys with passers. And it's basically going to be a toss-up. He's going to try to play active defense, which, as you see according to the computer, is completely fine. But you have to be precise. Rook e3, rook d7 check. The king goes back. Nojibek plays rook d4, baiting the pawn to come forward. And baiting the king to come forward. So he would zip around back and play rook c8. And the crazy thing about this position is that before you push, the computer wants to go here. For a reason I can't quite explain. This might be losing no matter what, by the way. This might be losing no matter what. In fact, as you can see there, the evaluation just jumped up, right? But the computer can't super precisely find the win. It takes a very long time. It's probably winning, and Nojibek does a very nice job creating the best type of imbalance for himself. Plays f5, rook d8, and his pawns are just too strong. His pawns are just too strong. He's going to sack the rook for the pawn when it queens, and the pawns are going to go. The black king can't simultaneously support the pawn and protect these. King c4. But he could have played rook d5 as well. Doesn't matter. And my friends, Nodirbek Abdusattorov defeats Magnus Carlsen on the 63rd move of this game because he will promote, take, and make another queen. Not only did Nodirbek Abdusattorov defeat Magnus Carlsen, Nodirbek Abdusattorov won the entire round robin. The world rapid champion of 2021, winning it at the age of 17, won with an undefeated score of 5.5 out of 7, defeating Magnus Carlsen. Magnus Carlsen got 5th in the round robin. 5th. And these are the playoff matchups. Dingliren managed to draw Alireza Firouzja, by the way, in the last round to stop the bleeding. Your matchup for tomorrow in the quarterfinals. Nodirbek Abdusattorov will take on Dingliren. Vincent Keymer will take on Levon Aronian. Fabiano Caruana will take on Gukesh. Alireza versus Magnus. Oh my God. 4th and 5th is probably the marquee matchup. That is nuts. Magnus once said he would not defend the world championship unless it was against Alireza Firouzja. If Alireza Firouzja won the candidates. That didn't happen, so we get to see them fight here. Now, I just have a question. I was looking at the standings. I was looking at the settings of the event. Why did we just play this round robin stage? Like, I get it. We need to seed all the players, and I guess it's fun, but like, that was weird. Like, why? We just spent 2 days, but nobody got knocked out. Well, anyway. So hopefully Dingliren's confidence is not shot. He's going to have a lot more time. Tomorrow is classical 90-minute, not 25-minute like this. And yeah, all the young guys were at the top. Gukesh lost today a lot of games. I think he might have lost all his games today. He lost to Nodirbek, he lost to Keymer, he lost to Caruana. Yeah, he went 0-3, I think. That's crazy. So a rough end for him, but I will see you tomorrow for the Classical. Get out of here.